Two dads and a Chaz putting trophies on the wall. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads and a Chaz talking Green Bay Packers football. We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Mostly gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air conditioning, cause it's bound to get hot. Two dads and a Chaz, you know we live it and we live it right. Two dads and a Chaz, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides some rings and putting trophies on the wall. Trophies, y'all. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Two Dads and a Chaz podcast, the Green Bay Packer podcast with the Dad Podcast. We want to say thank you to coming in for post-game 6. So, if you got cheese in your veins, beer on your breath, and Packers in your heart, welcome home, ladies and gents. I am your host, who sings like an angel and dances like the devil, Chaz, a.k.a. the Wisco Kid. But now, it's time to introduce the dads of Two Dads and a Chaz pod. First of all, his voice is low. His D hangs low. And now that we have him on our podcast, we will never let him go. Let's give a warm welcome to Ty.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Moving right along. He loves the pack. His garage is stacked. And he will keep cheesing up on D till he has a heart attack. Let's hear it for T-Bone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching the pod. It's always an honor to talk pack with you, win or lose.
Coming up, he's a jukebox hero who loves and looks like De Niro. The porcelain prince himself, Aaron Mayhew.
Chaz, thank you as always. And gentlemen, it's fine to be surrounded by you brilliant minds yet again. Chaz, let's dive right in.
Well, before we do, we have a special guest this week, ladies and gentlemen. I want to bring to the table a very special guy. This dad is the embodiment of what a Packer fan is and should be. He'll do a little dance. He'll make a little love, and we are happy he's here to get down tonight with us. The paterfamilias, the man who literally made me who I am today, the dad bod of the pod, Buddy, a.k.a. King Ing. Let's hear it for him.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate the intro.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to dive into, so we're going to head right on into the first quarter here. First of all, I want to hear where everybody watched the game. Mayhew, initial thoughts. Where'd you see it, bud?
Over at the in-laws yet again, Chaz. Lots of kids, lots of dogs, but a real nice fire burning next to me. And initial thoughts, I got to tell you, is just straight up dysfunction. Like I've never seen from a team, honestly, since I've been a Packer fan, especially on offense. We're going to be diving into a lot of this a little bit later, but I got to say it was a dreary day over at the Moon Hole.
Ty, where'd you watch the game, brother?
The third best place to watch the Packer game from the comfort of my couch. The two best places being Lambeau and with friends and family, but settled for the comfort easy third spot this week.
Tyson, where'd you see it, buddy?
This one I watched with the family solo at home. As some viewers may or may not know, I typically throw every single game, pretty big gathering. But this one, I had a bad feeling, as you know, from the last pod, and I decided I was going to go solo, and I'm glad I did.
Buddy, where did you happen to watch the Packer game?
Oh, I watched the Packer game from section 116, row 11, seat 21 of the famous Lambeau Field.
Ooh, you got a little rain that game, didn't you?
It was a little wet.
Wet?
Yeah. And the clouds were there even when they weren't. You know what I mean?
I do. A cold day at Lambeau is a right day at Lambeau for me, my friends. As we get into initial thoughts about this game, guys, I got to say it's disappointment across the board for me. I don't think anybody going down the line is going to say a whole lot of things that are really different. But if anybody does have something they want to add as far as just initial thoughts about the performance, I'm willing to hear them.
I started out pretty optimistic. You know, they are the Jets after all, and they've had flashes in the past and then turned out to be just terrible. So I started out optimistic, shredded into just confused by the end of it. That's where I'm at with that. It's just totally just confused.
Well, then let's get into this little segment here that we like to call game day winners and lowly bed shitters, and or whose jersey are you going to buy? Me personally, I'm not buying anybody's jersey this week, except maybe my dad's, because he was actually at the game and that was something I would have loved to have actually seen and watched. And believe me, I was looking for you, bud. As far as lowly bed shitters, Aaron Rodgers comes to mind. If anybody's willing to contest that fact, I'm willing to hear it.
You won't get it from me.
Lowly bed shitters. Whoa, everybody. Whoa.
Yeah.
Everybody. Hang on now. I see everybody wants a piece. Mayhew, lowly bed shitters?
For me, boys, I'm going to take it a little off key here. It was AJ Young for me. I've never seen a more disappointing performance from this running back guy. His second handoff fumble of the year, easy drop passes, just looking like he's thinking too much before he actually runs and not just like cutting and going. I just felt like he's regressing, one of many on this team currently. But as far as shitters, he takes the cake. But I will tell you, boys, if there's one guy who deserves a round of applause, that would be our boy Bab Tadyon. And I'll tell you, Chaz, if I'm buying a jersey, I'm hoping it's in the bargain bin. But if Bob Tanyon's in that bargain bin, I'm
It's good value. It's good value. You got to go for it. Guys, I got to say, I'm just going to stick with the offensive line for my winners and bed shitters section of this conversation. I have to say, and we should give him credit because I don't think he's earned it really up until this point, in my opinion. But Bakhtiari showed up and was pretty solid in a very unsolid walking bridge of an offensive line that refused to stand still. He managed to hold his own. And my shitter of the week is a man that if I saw changing a tire on the side of the road, I would aim for a puddle. That's Royce Newman. Fuck Royce Newman. He is a problem. And we've been saying this since week one, guys, maybe before week one. So this is my general disappointment in this game is that I felt like what Nostradamus must have felt like, and that I knew what was coming if we didn't make a change in many areas. And we changed a couple of things, but we didn't change enough, guys. And it's like I watched this nightmare that I had dreamt unfold piece by piece. I've never been more disappointed to be right in my entire life.
Buddy, any thoughts on lowly bed shitters? Any game day winners and or jersey buys you're going to go for?
Well, as far as game shitters, I had an experience with game pissers. You know, I've been driving the Uber car before Packer games and after Packer games, and picking up people and giving them rides to the game and back and forth and talking with all these people. I ended up giving a ride after the game to Jimmy. Jimmy pissed in the back of my car.
I thought maybe
Jimmy not only
didn't care.
Not only did he piss his pants in the back of my car, but he sat in it for 2 hours all the way from Lambeau Field to downtown Milwaukee. Just sat in it. The police picked Jimmy up physically, 3 of them, and placed him in the back seat of my car and told me I had to take him to Milwaukee.
What? Did
So,
he tip?
anytime you hear me say the name Jimmy, you know something's dribbling down their leg, and there was a lot of dribbling down the leg at that game. I'll tell you, that quarterback, who pissed all over himself. That offensive line, they pissed all over themselves. The defense pissed off. The coaching, don't even get me started. No shitters, but pissers for Buddy this time.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Pops. I can only imagine what that car smelled like.
Yeah.
That it was piss.
Oh, and as far as jerseys go, I did buy a jersey. I bought one of them throwback jerseys, you know, because I thought we were going to win this game. Look at this.
Oh, the Jordy. That's a good jersey.
I wanted to have a keepsake from
You'll
that
want
game.
that come playoffs.
Well, yeah, come playoffs, I'll want it, but what a disappointing game. If I got to remember that game by wearing that jersey, I don't think I'm wearing it.
But as I'm sure you understand that rock bottom is an important day in everyone's life, right? So for us to hit rock bottom and you to be there, now we just get to ride the roller coaster up to glory, right?
Yep, that's true. We're going all the way. It all changes here. It all changes here today.
Victor!
No more pissing down your leg.
As we move into the second quarter, we're going to talk a little bit actually about the Jets. Do a little bit of a breakdown, statistical analysis. I'm going to throw it over to my main man, the porcelain prince himself, Mayhew. Talk us through it, dear, sir.
So we got to move over to the pack, though, because that's where things get real interesting. On defense, anybody show up? Anybody?
Nope.
Anybody?
Jimmy.
Rashad Gary had a sack. I did not notice. Enigbare was the rookie of the day with 1 total sack. The rest of these fucking pissants, I don't know who showed up to play, but it wasn't them. Moving into the running backs here is where we really start to play on our positives. Yes, AJ Dillon, 10 attempts for 41 yards. Crickets, please. But what's real staggering here is Aaron Jones had a whopping 9 attempts. Because why wouldn't you give your best playmaker the ball as little as possible, right? 19 total yards for a staggering average of 2.1. My God, what the fuck are we doing? But really, the quarterback is the star of the show here. 26 completions out of 41 attempts for 246 yards, 1 touchdown, and sacked more times than I can fucking count by the end of the day. But boys, it's not just the game day stats that matter. We roll into Pro Football Focuses. Top 5 offense. Coming in number 1, David Bakhtiari with a solid 86.7. Now, man, wiggly leg Bakhtiari gave up just 1 pressure over 45 pass blocking snaps at the best run grade of the season. Coming in number 2, Mercedes Lewis, 84.7. The man is old, but by God, he blocks with a vengeance. Number 3, Robert Tanyan coming in with a real solid 77.2. The man played his heart out, though he runs very slowly. Coming in number 4 would be Josh Myers at center with a 64.4. And number 5 is Alan Bazard, 60.3. The only thing I can think giving him that score was the 1 highlight catch of the day. Now, defense, boys, defense. It started off strong, ended up willy. But at number 1 comes Kingsley Enigbare, the rookie, with a hefty 90.5, one of the highest grades we've seen this year. Coming in number 2, Adrian Amos at safety. Played pretty stellar. Number 3, Dean Lowry, surprised to be on this list, but 73.1, because it's a number. Number 4, Preston Smith, quietly doing a 71.3, and little Kenny Clark grinding it out at 69.8. Now, boys, that's the good side of the show, but we gotta scrape the bottom of the barrel like we always do. Coming in with the bottom 5 of the offense, a lowly John Runyon with 42.8. You ask him to pass block, boys, he'll do what you need to do. But if you ask him to run block, it's almost like he left the field briefly while his quarterback was threatened viciously. And number 2, Juwan Winfrey, called up from the practice squad. Jesus Christ, this guy couldn't catch a ball to save his life on Sunday with a 43.4. Romeo Dobbs, right behind him at 45.6. I'm not feeling good, boys, about the rest of this list. But, boys, it goes a little bit deeper. Special teams, lowest graded special teams performance of the season. Eric Wilson blocked the punt but had a 10-yard penalty. Keyshawn Nixon returned well but missed the tackle, and both Mason Crosby and Pat O'Donnell felt like they got kicked in the dick. But number 12, here we are once again wondering why Aaron Rodgers played such a small role in the Packers offense. Maybe he's a pussy, maybe he doesn't fucking care. But at the end of the day, he needs to throw the ball and move the fucking offense down the field. In the 5 of the 6 games this season, we have also lost the fumble, losing the turnover battle in what is becoming a crucial down and distance situation. But boys, where it really gets interesting is on a 3.0 and 4.4 differential. The Packers offense could barely move the ball on Sunday, averaging 3 yards per carry and 4.4 yards per pass attempt. You could literally fucking fall 4 yards if you had any fucking heart to you, boys, but we don't. And most importantly, boys, the final number here, 250. And do you know what that number is, boys? It's the amount of yards that we have not surpassed once throwing the football this year. Not once. Now, boys, you're asking yourselves, what does it add up to? What does it all mean? Where do we go from here? Well, boys, I'll tell you what it adds up to. We're fucked.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That was an incredible report, Aaron. I gotta say, this newsreel guy is really doing his homework, and I'm impressed. And that really spells the story of incompetence in a mathematical way. Appreciate your coverage. Well done.
Mayhew, thank you so much for that riveting experience. Well, unfortunately, we have to take our first commercial break here at 2DNC. We will be back in just a minute. Growing up in the Midwest, there's always some staples at our Sunday football games. You know, chips, dips, a beer, brats, and of course, a Midwestern classic, ambrosia salad, made with ingredients that God never intended to be put together, like marshmallow fluff, nuts, for some reason only bruised grapes, Jell-O, and cheese. That's right, cheese. If you're looking to match your favorite football team, we'll try these fun, exotic, new flavors and colors like fruit punch, bile yellow, and whatever flavor on earth makes this shade of radioactive green. Ambrosia salad, guaranteed not to have a single portion missing from the bowl. Welcome back to Two Dads and a Chaz podcast, my friends. We're going to continue on our breakdown as we're in the second quarter here. We're going to go into offense, defense, and special teams. We're going to start with offense, of course, of the Green Bay Packers. Mayhew and Tyson, this one's going to be for you guys. I want to hear about what you guys thought as far as O-line versus the Jets D front and or Rodgers. I'm going to give you a couple minutes just to hit and quit it.
Tyson, I'm going to take the lead here and just open it up saying that the biggest factor in this game across the board was the offensive line play, in my opinion. It was staggeringly pathetic. Every single individual on that line, I know Bakhtiari graded out fairly well, but it felt like we could not run the ball because there was no holes. We could not throw the ball because A-Rod is getting sacked every 1.5 seconds, if not less. And it felt difficult to get anything done. And on offense, if you can't even have a moment to breathe and try to set up plays to actually move the ball, I want to blame a lot of people, but I feel like it starts there. And on that end, I will say the defensive front of the Jets, I was impressed. I haven't seen the team since I think the Giants back when Strahan was still playing, that could literally just rush forward the entire game and dominate, shut down the run, get in the backfield before a running back even touched the ball. Quinnen Williams, as I said earlier, was a goddamn animal. I was blown away by that guy. But it was depressing to know that from the first snap, we seemed like we didn't have any answers to, at times, seemed like simple things, Tyson, like stunts. Is this the first time you guys have seen a stunt?
I've seen stunts so many times that the TV broadcaster noticed it and mentioned it. And then it's all I could see at that point. I'm like, oh my God, they cannot stop that one trick move. Is too much for them. I have to say, we, regardless of Aaron Rodgers' play and the wide receivers and the defense's performance, I think it's really safe to say that as of this week, we have the worst blocking offensive line in all of the NFL. We have the worst offensive line in football. Hey guys, we're the worst at something. It's called blocking. Oh, no big deal. It's just the entire game. It's just exactly what the game is built on. It's just the rhythm and timing of everything. It's just the heartbeat of your team.
It's one unit improves and then the other two units just implode. So that's the struggle there, where it is one step forward, two steps back with these guys.
Ty, I'm sorry. I could not agree more with you. I think watching this team, it's like everybody takes their turn and slowly fucking up, and the accumulation is a team that looks absolutely horrible. But I'll say on the flip side, I think that's also fixable. You know what I mean? It's like offensive line. If you do your job, the offense has an ability to maybe do some things. Aaron Rodgers, if you have time, play within Matt LaFleur's offense. On defense, man, the first half I thought was sound, honestly. I thought we played aggressive at the line, the cornerbacks, which is everything fucking anybody would complain about with Joe Barry. So he adjusted there. Jair had an outstanding game. Inside linebackers were atrocious. You already talked, you touched on Quay. I thought Devondre is right there. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I think maybe he might have been a 1-year anomaly last year. I'm not saying he's trash, but he's not standing out to me like I thought he was going to. This was supposed to be the elite pairing at linebacker we've been looking for years. And I feel like I'm seeing more of the same. Ty, what do you think?
That's why my leading word is confused, because we've seen each of these units individually be pretty solid, with the exception of the O-line, or with the exception of the D-line. But I'm confused because I see the tools are all there. I just don't get why they can't put it all together on the same week. They're only coaching one of these units a week, or what's the deal there? I don't know what their routine is, but something's got to change, because we can't have 1/3 of the defense showing up to play every week.
Absolutely, gentlemen. As far as special teams goes, I've been really impressed. But Mayhew, I'm going to toss this actually over to you. What were your thoughts as far as that?
Chaz, it's a perfect example of what we're talking about right now. You can be great 99% of the time and atrocious 1% of the time and lose a football game. Special teams, perfect example. Look, as far as field goal kicking, extra point, I got to hand it off. Like, Bisaccia has completely turned that around. Mason Crosby kicking, Pat O'Donnell holding, and Coco, man, our long snap guy's on point. I didn't have him in the grade earlier, but he's crushing it. So that is there. Pat O'Donnell on punts when he's not getting fucking punched in the dick as he kicks, he's good to go. Okay. But then we look at these really, really large fuck ups of guys going unblocked, turns into block punts into touchdown, or missed assignments. All of a sudden, Quinn Williams blocking an easy field goal in a game that could have been in reach, despite how badly we played, quickly becomes a clusterfuck. And I thought we had this cleaned up, because honestly, I thought the special teams has been one of like the bright spots this year, but this game was exceptionally horrible. And I can only imagine the amount of throats that got punched by Bisaccia after the game.
And just a team full of Jimmies, as Buddy said. It was a team full of Jimmies. Everybody just pissing all over themselves the entire game.
I gotta
everywhere.
disagree. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta say that I was really impressed with Nixon. I'm really impressed with some parts of the special teams. Overall, as much as it sucks that they were responsible for 10 points, essentially being on the board or to the other team, I still feel like overall, the expectation of the special teams, like against the Jets, that shouldn't have been enough. And I still can't say that I can't go hard on special teams, because they progressed too. They finally put Nixon in at kick returner. This Tricky Dick Nixon is also someone we haven't talked about, and we should have. This guy has done nothing but excel when put on the field. I like rewarding guys that succeed. It makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense. I like when we do things that make sense. I can't shit on special teams completely, because there was some progression. When you're looking at a loss like this, I got to find the silver linings in special teams. In a way, there was some.
Tyson, just because Nixon returned a decent kickoff does not mean that they didn't completely shit the bed on 10 points in a game like that. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about right now, man. It was a poor day for special teams, in my opinion, and one that I think they can clean up. But it's discipline. It's discipline. But a guy gets straight through the line to block a kick, missed assignments at this juncture. I'm like, what are we even practicing? And that goes across the board. I'm really curious about what the Packers are doing at practice these days, because all you read about the entire week, defensive game plan, we feel good about it. Offensive game plan, let's go do this thing. And they get on the field and they leave embarrassed. It transfers to coaching, Tyson. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. It transfers directly to coaching, and also doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to anyone. We're doing all these things that don't make sense, that aren't common sense. Hey, I know what's going on. Our wide receivers can't run the right routes. I got an idea. Why don't the quarterback, who's also not throwing right routes, go out with the wide receiver who's not catching the right routes and practice said routes instead of him?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, he hit the jugs machine, and I went and drank some tequila, because my name's Aaron Rodgers and I don't need to improve. I think it's fucking crazy to me that anyone in football, period, thinks that they are above the physicality of the sport because they understand something. No one is. The smartest man on the planet will get broken in half in this game. I need him to remember what this game is. It's a life or death situation. You run like a dog's chasing you. You don't get to sit around and wait for your calls and get your free plays. At this point, I am thoroughly convinced that this team is not going to improve to the next level until Rodgers breaks his routine and starts giving a full ass to this whole process. Because right now, he has been surviving off of how he used to do it. And he is not playing like he used to.
I totally agree with everything that Tyson just said. Rodgers has to play a different game. He's not the same Rodgers he used to be. He can't be changing those plays all the time. You know, from running plays to passing plays and throwing it downfield. People know he can't get the ball downfield right now. I don't know if it's his thumb or what the problem is, but he just cannot get that ball down the field. And whatever happened to screen passes? You know, screen passes. Packers are known for screen passes. Why aren't we using them? I don't know.
It seems like we are trying, and the timing on that won't even work. But the real issue,
you have to have the O-line to do it. You have to have an O-line that isn't a total dumpster fire in order to run a screen pass. And right now we've got each one of these guys failing significantly on his own. And they're not even a cohesive unit. They're not even an individuals being close to adequate. They're not going to, as a unit, mesh enough to actually get that, execute something complicated like that when they can't even jump back into pass block.
Well, gentlemen, we can sit and talk shit about this team all day. Ty, I want to hear about the offense from the Jets.
They executed their game plan. They were going to come here, not really throw much, just run all over our defense, and they did. They didn't have to throw much, as Mayhew pointed out in the numbers. But the thing that really bothered me was that even the trick plays worked. The end around for the touchdown, the traps and the stunts going for big yards. I hate giving up first downs out of a wildcat. You know, it's just like, it's so obvious what they're doing. And that was really what the Jets came here to do, and they did it. And that's that.
I was actually incredibly impressed with Breece Hall. Like I knew he was like a standout player, rookie, like going into this game. But once I saw him, like we kept him in check like briefly in the first half. And then once he erupted, he's slippery. He's fast. He breaks contact for like how slender he looks. And man, the guy is actually dynamic.
I fucking told you guys. You didn't believe me. I told you this guy's a fucking real deal. I watched him play. He's fucking awesome. And
the Zach Wilson rollout completions was also impressive. Something you called that was also turned out to be impressive.
Ball, that guy, man, he's an athlete, dude. The Jets have had nothing but top 10 picks for like 20 years straight. Eventually, you have no choice but to figure it out, okay? And all they're doing is just running the team like a second-year quarterback would run the team. If we ran our team like a second-year quarterback ran the team, we would have won this game by 15, 20 points. We don't. We have a guy who understands so much that he's willing to go 6 feet deep when all we need to do is get our toes wet.
And unfortunately, their coaching brought it too. That whole team, both sides of the ball, the energy was there. I mean, their coach, he brought the big dick energy. Those guys, every linebacker was hitting like he had hit stick in Madden. It was pile drivers. Aaron Rodgers got hit so hard that he did a cartwheel.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought the energy, and it was coming from the sidelines. I don't know, buddy, did you see their coach on the sideline at all?
I was sitting on the Packers sideline, so I didn't really pay much attention to across the field. But I was really interested in what was going on in the Packers sideline. By the way, when I picked up some Giants fans and gave them a ride to the game, and they were talking about how nice all the Packer fans were being to them. And I'm like, yeah, they'll be really nice to you, you know. And they turned to me and they said, well, we see that as a weakness in New York City. And that's exactly how they played the game. You know, the Packers were nice You know, they were Midwest nice, and New York kicked their ass.
As for the coaching of the Green Bay Packers, I don't know what to say except for that I've lost faith. And that is a hard thing to admit to a guy who believed in this team so much that I built a mecca in my garage, and I talked my friends into spending this time to make a podcast because I believed this was a special year capable of special things at the end of a special era. This coaching has squandered this unbelievable privilege that they have accepted, which is to be the leader of this incredible brand that has such amazing things to offer. And right now, they're making it personal. And they're also not valuing their own person enough to stand up when someone is literally damaging them, their mission, the Packers as a whole. I am just so upset with Matt LaFleur that I can't help but say, after this many weeks of everyone seeing what's going on, this all spirals down to his feet. And I feel like he, again, like I said last week, is paralyzed with pressure right now. And what he needs to do is overcome this on such a large level that it redefines who he is in this franchise's eyes. Because who he is right now is not someone who's going to keep his job. He's not going to be our coach in 5 years if this continues. And it's going to be the beginning of something terrible. And he's been given something wonderful. I think he feels the levity of the situation. I don't know that he has the capacity to steer the ship right and be the boss of these coaches and the quarterback, which quite frankly is leading the charge of our message to the media, to the team, to the fans. Everything has to run through this quarterback for it to work. And I feel like this mess has been enabled by Matt LaFleur, and he needs to take it as serious as a heart attack and realize this conflict is unavoidable. This divorce is coming, and he needs to step the fuck up. Put this guy in his place. I would put him on the bench and start Jordan Love this week, quite frankly, because if we got this bad of an offensive line, why are we throwing an injured hand dude out there in the first place? I hope they're taking a real hard look in the mirror and realize what they have to lose here. Because this coaching staff is destroying one of the most amazing, beautiful beacons of professional sport by their incompetence and unwillingness to act when things are clearly falling apart beneath their very feet. Aaron, what do you think about that?
T-Bone, that is a spicy take per usual. And I'm going to dovetail off again on offense. And I thought about this today. I'm really curious. So my biggest concern with this team offensively is the offensive line. And we've already delved into that, right? This offensive line in Green Bay has been a strength for years. Buddy, you know what I'm talking about. And the coach was Adam Stenavich. This guy's been there for fucking ever, right? But we lose our offensive coordinator, head coach in Denver Broncos right now, and we upgrade him to offensive coordinator. And then all of a sudden, our offensive line is just fucking in shambles. Literally overnight, it feels like. Same players, same fundamentals, you know what I mean? Where what was the disconnect there? Why does this guy shift over and all of a sudden we're struggling? It's like, man, maybe we need to move this guy back down, make some changes. I don't know who's in charge of offensive line. I didn't do that research either, because I just feel like we're constantly promoting people or hiring people based off of what's there out of necessity or who we're best friends with, you know, circa Joe Barry on defense. And man, that I've learned that lesson myself, hiring friends throughout my life. It doesn't work out well. It all, for me, boys, if we can clean up the offensive line play, like I know we're capable of, because I feel like the talent is there. As soon as Royce Newman gets fucking shipped off to Walmart, you know what I mean? We can turn this thing around in offense quickly. And then if our defense isn't on the field for 90% of the game, I think it's a symbiotic relationship. You know what I mean? So coaching wise, Adam Stenavich, I'm calling you out right now. What the fuck's going on?
I got to tell you, coaching is coaching, and being a buddy is not coaching. I believe LaFleur was hired after
Mike
McCarthy. Yeah, Mike McCarthy because he become buddies and he's letting Aaron Rodgers run the whole darn team. So now LaFleur comes in, they hire him. I think they hire him because they're convinced that he can keep Rodgers under control. And I think maybe he did at first a little bit. And I think they worked a little bit together. And I was sitting on the sideline watching, and LaFleur seems more worried about what outfit he's wearing and which kicks he's bought and how his eyebrows are trimmed. He doesn't seem like he's out there, running a team. And I think he's afraid of Rodgers at this point. He talks behind his card. He's got to confront this guy, man. He's got to confront this guy. He's got to set him in his place. Rodgers cannot run this team. He's ruining the whole darn thing.
I'm right there with you guys. I think we've pandered and catered to his ego so much, and we've given him everything. And all he does, and all Aaron Rodgers does, is walk around like he's God's gift to football, even though he's won 1 out of 16 seasons. He's got a Super Bowl. He's God's gift to football, but he's got as many Super Bowl wins as Trent Dilfer and Rex Grossman. It's like, and he walks around like he's better than everybody else and he's superior to everybody else, but he's won 1 Super Bowl in 13 years. Given it on him in 13 years, there's no guarantee he'd win another one. So I'm a little past tired of his attitude.
Gentlemen, we got to move on a little bit onto that horrible 4th and 14, which literally gave us the end of the game.
Boys, it's another instance for me of down and distance and understanding where you are and what you're doing, right? So Aaron Rodgers, as much as he wants to say he sits behind the fucking line, understands the defense, puts us in the best possible play, that shouldn't come on 4th when there's that much distance. You should come on 3rd. You look at the chunk, you slowly chip away, and you don't take shots. I tell you what, I don't know any other team in the NFL, honestly, that when it's 3rd and 1 is looking for a fucking go route 40 yards downfield so they can get off the field and get the defense back on. That is the Packers in a goddamn nutshell. Now, on 3rd down, we basically threw another shrub play of the same caliber, go into 4th and 14 and play directly into their hands. I couldn't believe at the moment we had to, right? But the play calling at that point is we're playing into the defensive hands, and it was we basically gave up on the game. And I've never seen a 4th and 14 execution that early in the 4th quarter. And I was wildly frustrated. And I think it's, again, a lack of just miscommunication, buddy, between coach and Aaron Rodgers, what they're trying to do, and how much leeway we give that quarterback to make what he thinks is the right call, and I often disagree with. Buddy, what are your thoughts there?
I often disagree with it too. I think all too often Rodgers is changing the play so that he can get his stats or he can make himself the hero of the game, when what we need to be doing is running the ball, having some sort of balance, and he's taken over the game. He's taken over the game, and he's not following LaFleur's plan. LaFleur is brilliant. He's a brilliant football planner, but if Rodgers won't run his plays and he changes them all to pass plays, the defense knows he's going to do that. He's been doing it for the last 3 years. The defense knows he's going to do it.
Yeah, we're predictable.
This is also a story as old as time. The coordinator who has incredible success and is put in a position to be head coach and does not have the personality or the cojones, whatever you want to call it, to pull it off. This is not a new concept. And this is as old as performer versus writer, right? I think that LaFleur is a brilliant writer. I think that what he comes up with is very good. Arguably some of the best scheme I've ever seen in football. But I don't think he has the personality to demand accountability. And I don't know that you can overcome severe adversity without that trait. And that's our team's Achilles heel. When we see adversity that is overwhelming, our worst football comes out on all sides.
As far as overcoming adversities, we got to talk a little bit about injuries. And really, there's just one I want to talk about. That's Randall Cobb. That was I wasn't sure exactly what happened. At first, I thought it was broken ribs. I couldn't tell. It later on looked like it was an ankle that they said. But as far as what that's going to do to the receiving core, I mean, he hasn't been getting as much play as obviously I wanted to see this season because I've been kind of wanting to buy his jersey these last couple of games. And obviously the Packers, even Aaron Rodgers was saying, you know, I want to be getting Cobby the ball even more. But then to not see him doing it and then to get hurt, I felt literally like I got my legs kicked out from under me and snapped my ankle off. Injuries are always going to be an issue for any football team. And that one hurt a little bit. I don't know if anybody knows how long he's going to be out or for.
They say it's a high ankle sprain. Boys, this is an inevitability when you have Randall Cobb on your team. There's going to be a chunk of the year where he's gone, just like Sammy Watkins, right? This was bound to happen. We're lucky it's a high ankle sprain. We're lucky it's not broken. We're lucky he is likely to come back by playoff time. And honestly, he could use the time off to keep what's left of his body together. This guy can't play a full year of football. And where we need him is the forgotten excellent player come playoff time. So this is actually, in my eyes, what needs to happen for this team to progress is that Rodgers' best buddy that runs his version of the football team is gone now. And Amari Rodgers, by the way, looked great. He didn't look bad as an offensive threat. He looks terrible as a punt returner, kick returner, but as a wideout, I like what I saw, unfortunately, guys.
Tyson, I was shocked. I felt the same way. He actually was getting open. He seemed like he knew what was going on. And I'm not sure if because the defense was just shocked to have this guy in the ball game for the first time all year. You know, all things aside, I'm right there with you. One thing I will also mention is that, and someone at work told me this too, is when you see Randall Cobb driving off on the sideline, and this guy he's tearing up and throwing the towel over his head, thinking that his season is over. And this team can't get together at home and rally together to beat this Jets team. Then
no reaction. I was heartbreaking.
What are we doing here? What kind of heart do we have? And I had no answer. It caught me off guard. I'm like, that's a valid point. That's a really valid point. Ty, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed the kind of how alone he was on that too. It was painful to watch. Cobb has never made it through a whole season. Cobb couldn't make it through a whole season when he was 28. I didn't expect him to do it this season either, now that he's older. But yeah, he will be a valuable asset come playoffs. Absolutely.
But he's got the prettiest eyes in the game. You can't deny that. Those are just beautiful. One of the things that really upset me about this week was the post game interviews. We talked about LaFleur and coaching already, but I got to say, I was almost literally ripping the skin off of my face watching Aaron Rodgers in this post mortem of the game. And Tyson, I know you want to take some time with this, and I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you have it.
No, listen, I really was intending on spending a lot of time on this, but we have spent a lot of time on a lot tonight. So I don't want to, for the listeners' sake, I'm not going to go as long-winded as I thought. Here are the main points from his press conference that I want to hit on. He talks about he needs to up his game a tick. He also talks about pulling ranks. Now, pulling ranks hit me in the gut because now that's head coach GM talk. Who the fuck do you think you are? Do you know you're a player? Not only that, you're supposed to be a leader of the union. So right now you're talking about who's pulling ranks? What the fuck are we talking about right now? What is this team? Pulling ranks says a lot. And then everything that LaFleur says is eerily similar to Aaron Rodgers, except for when they asked him directly about what he meant by we need to simplify things. Same as every year. Oh, that gets me going too. What, like McCarthy did every single year? Like this guy that you ran out of town, who every single year at the beginning of the year, you and your offensive coordinator come up with some tricky-dicky-doos, and then the other team has, I don't know, a defensive coordinator smarter than you, and they shut it down, and then McCarthy has to take over by week 8, and then we, I don't know, make the playoffs? Listen, I have to say I'm in the club of we owe Mike McCarthy an apology. I definitely am in that club. I was also a big backer of Mike McCarthy when he was here because he's a leader, and he is a real person and a dad. And I think that having that successful of a son made him unable to be the guy he was supposed to be. And we went the opposite direction, buddy, but I think we went the direction of the players coach, the buddy, the guy that's like, hey man, whatever, you don't need to have that pressure. I think McCarthy had that pressure. It worked on Favre, it worked on Rodgers in the beginning. We have a bad habit in this franchise of taking our quarterback and lifting them up to God's status, giving them private offices, giving them helipads, giving them whatever the hell they want in the whole world, okay? There's not a franchise in all of professional sports, including the LA Lakers, that will lick the balls of their leader harder than the Green Bay Packers because we don't have a fucking owner. You know what everyone says? It's a privilege to be the Cowboys quarterback. It's a privilege, right? You get to be America's team's quarterback. You also get Jerry Jones coming in every other day being like, hi there, buddy. So here's the deal. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to need you to just give up your rights, sign this contract that I'm going to have a guy follow you around, make sure you're doing about 20 hours of film a day, okay? Because I got all this baby blood coming in, and I'm going to need to put this in my body. You're going to want some of it. It's all going to work. Meanwhile, at our team, we don't have anybody that's up your ass like that. We just give you the freedom and the money and the status. My point is this. Aaron Rodgers right now to this team is the step uncle that came into the family and is pissing away the fortune before your very eyes, crashing Ferrari after Ferrari after Ferrari. Dude, all I want is one Ferrari. You give me one Ferrari, I'm happy for the rest of my life. Give me one more Super Bowl, motherfucker. You can be on your way. But no, it's not perfect. So I'm gonna crash the Ferrari. I'm gonna go pick up some more Oxy, got hit by the Ferrari dealership. I'm gonna fucking crash another Ferrari. That's the problem. Aaron Rodgers has been given spoiled child syndrome. And at this point, you can't pull the fucking rug back out. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. The floor is trapped by the fact that we don't have a main guy that can Jerry Jones and Cliff Priaski and then say, now listen here, Aaron. Now, if you don't perform, I'm going to have to ruin your life. Like, we don't have that guy. We've got a committee. So my point is, Aaron Rodgers' press conference exposed that he is aligning himself with the administration, which is troubling to me because he is supposed to be a leader of players, a leader of men, and a leader of effort. And he's doing none of that. He's acting like an administrator who can drink whiskey and drink liquor on the job and go home early and show up late and flirt with fucking secretaries. And I don't like it. And I haven't liked it for a long time. And now that his play has gone down, I will not tolerate it as a fan. And we're not fucking stupid. So I don't care if he doesn't like what we have to say or care what we have to say. We're not a dumb fan base. We do our own research. He's underperforming. And if he doesn't perform better, do you think the divorce of Brett Favre is bad? Aaron, look the fuck out, dude. You better seriously get it in order or else this is going to be bad.
Woo! A lot of heat coming out of that garage. A lot of heat. Thank you, boys. Folks, we got to go to our second commercial break here. We'll be back with you at 2B and a C in just a minute. Hey, kids. Looking for something to do on a Friday night? Tired of the same old youth groups and boring drive-ins? Then head on down to Epstein's Sock Hop and Roller Arena in sunny Orlando, Florida. A bunch of wholesome fun for the entire family. Try out the fun games like Whack-A-Mole, or head on over to the snack bar, or give a try to the Roofie Station. I'm sorry, the Groovy Station, or the massage parlor, where our trained specialists, like Elaine here, can help you unwind. So, head on down to Epstein's Sock Hop and Roller Arena, where everything that happens at Epstein's Sock Hop and Roller Arena stays in Epstein's Sock Hop and Roller Arena. Welcome back to Do D and a C podcast. I am your host, Chaz. We're going to go into the third quarter. Game planning about the Commanders game and what we kind of saw last week. I mean, so far, what I saw, we had 2 sacks for Washington first against the Bears. So they were definitely getting some pressure on him for sure. I started calling it Sacktoberfest with how much both teams were getting hands on both of those quarterbacks. As far as the scouting report, Ty, let's hear a little bit.
Who are the Washington Commanders? They're terrible. That win against the Bears was their second win of the season. They beat the Jaguars week 1 and then lost 4 in a row to Lions, Eagles, Cowboys, Titans before beating the Bears in a squeaker last week. I agree that the defensive pressure from Washington looks good until I realized they were playing the Bears, who might be the worst team in the league this year. The Washington Commanders are ranked 18th in passing, 24th in rushing. They have a completion rate of 36% on third down, which makes them ranked 26th. And they have a turnover ratio of -5. On any other week, I would think easy win. We're going to see some backups, fellas. This team sucks, and we're going to walk all over them. Maybe not the case this week. Mayhew?
Now, Ty, just slow down a moment there, because if you really dive into the stats from last week, it paints a very similar picture to what you're describing here. So, receiving core. Now, boys, Terry McLaurin, this boy's out of Ohio State. He's a goddamn playmaker, and I feel horrible that this man was drafted by the Washington Commanders. Anyway, 4 targets, 3 receptions for 41 yards. That's their playmaker, and they can't get him the fucking ball. Now, when it comes to running backs, for those of you in the fantasy football situation here, my man Brian Robinson was shot twice in the legs right before the season started. This motherfucker has recovered and played last week. He had 17 carries for 60 yards and a TD. I mean, my hat is off to him, honestly. He is a fucking playmaker, getting healthier and healthier, not someone to not think about. Now, even more impressive here is Carson Wentz's stat line, converting 12 of 22 for 99 yards and just probably looking for yet another job, I assume at Walmart, because this guy is just not capable. And boys, if we're paying real close attention, he's actually not going to be starting on Sunday. Tyler Heineke will be getting the start against the Green Bay Packers. And I got no tape or stats on that guy.
If that name does not ring a bell, it shouldn't. Except for Taylor Heineke, we played him last year. He was the backup, and he came in, and he looked like the second coming of Colin Kaepernick. Ran 5 plays. One of them was a pass run option, and he ran for 90 yards all over the Green Bay Packers. The Packers ended up winning that one, but he was dangerous last year.
God damn.
Yes, I remember that name for that very reason. I'm like, I remember Taylor Heineke fucking ripping my heart out of my chest and being like, are we about to fucking lose to Taylor Heineke? And they had playoff stipulations. I don't remember what the situation was, but I remember that game and being like, who the fuck is this kid and why is he playing his heart out against us right now? Doesn't he know you're supposed to lose?
Shift over to defense for Washington. Just a few things to note. They have, look, Ron Rivera is the head coach. This guy understands defense, and they got some decent playmakers up front. Okay, so we got 2 defensive tackles, Jordan Allen and Dayton Payne. I want to say both out of Alabama, both first-round picks at D tackle position. Again, going to be difficult to run out. Montez Sweat. This guy was drafted in the first round as well, a little bit later, and he's been nothing but impactful. And thank God for all of us, Chase Young, one of the top picks a couple years ago. Who cares? He's a goddamn star, but he's injured, boys. So defensive front again is strong. So our ability to run the ball might be a little bit difficult. The rest of the team, I really don't know if I'm looking on paper, boys. But as we've all learned throughout these weeks, is that we need to stop taking anybody and any team /win for granted and get our fucking shit together. Pretend like everybody is a fucking Super Bowl opponent and just start building. God damn it. One win after another. Back to you, Jess.
Well, boys, we covered a little bit of O, we covered a little bit of D there as well. As far as Aaron Rodgers goes with this next game, I don't want to hear more than 30 seconds about this stupid thumb, because it comes down to more than just his stupid thumb. This comes down to mentality. We've talked a lot already about A-Rod, but I just want to say how we combat this team will come down to our offensive line, if they can hold to give Aaron Rodgers the 90 seconds he needs to throw the ball.
I mean, the things that we need to do to win this game are simple. We just need to do the two things that we can do well as a team that I've found this year. There's only two things. Ready? One, we can run block with this offensive line. We can. And we have running backs that can run the ball. Okay? So we need to run the ball, right? That seems simple. Everyone's talking about it. It somehow is impossible to stick to. But if we did, I wonder if it would work. I'm pretty sure it might. Second thing, just in one game alone, I'm willing to admit that we have, no surprise, some of the best man corners in football. Hey, if we play man up football and we rush 5 and they can't get that ball off in 2-3 seconds, I bet Gary will get there. So if we play a little more man, a little less zone, run the football, and don't throw the football, I'm pretty sure we'll win this game convincingly, because we're a better team than this team in terms of players on the field and coaches involved in football.
I have one thing to add, and that's understanding the situation. And that on 3rd and 2, maybe that's a good time to run the football instead of throwing the ball 60 yards downfield. Or 4th and 1, maybe that's a good time to run the football instead of throwing the ball 60 yards down the field. That's the only other addition that I'd make to that. That's a good list, Tyson.
And if Aaron Rodgers isn't capable of doing what I suggested for any reason whatsoever, I want to see Jordan Love. And if it was my team, I'd be sitting Aaron Rodgers down this week.
As far as benching Aaron Rodgers and playing Jordan Love, I don't think it's the time for it. But I think it's the best idea I've heard. Because I think Rodgers needs to be put in his place. I think it's time. I think nothing's going to work but sitting him. I don't think Jordan Love's going to be the savior and come in and take over the game and win it for us. But I think he could run LaFleur's offense, and I think he would run LaFleur's offense, and I think they would be successful. But it wouldn't be good politically.
Thank you so much, boys and girls. We're going to move into the fourth quarter here with a 2-minute drill into week predictions. We're going to rotate a little bit back and forth. First of all, Tyson, who's going to have a big game?
I think big old Tanyan is going to continue the momentum that he has built thus far. He has the trust of Aaron Rodgers. Now we have no Randall Cobb, so I expect the middle of the field to be owned by big old Bob Tanyan, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rodgers is pulling him aside, being like, hey, I know they said they're going to run the ball, but when I put my hand on my hip, that means you just do a quick hit it, and that means I'm going to hit you. Don't fuck it up and make me look bad, but I'm going to hit you. You get 12 receptions this week. Sounds good, right, buddy? Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bob Tanyan breaks 100 yards.
And first touchdown, Mayhew. Who's going to get the first one for the Green Bay Packers?
I'm going Showtime again, Chaz. This guy is like the one difference-making playmaker on our offensive side of the ball that we need to game plan around this guy. I don't even want him leaving the field unless he's out of breath and we want to bring AJ in for whatever. At this point, let's go with what works. Let's game plan for it and let the man do what he does, which is fucking put points on the board.
Absolutely. All right. As far as quarterback stats, which I know is going to be low. Ty?
I think I think we do see some Jordan Love. I think Aaron Rodgers goes for 179 and a touchdown, but I think we also see Love late in the game throwing for over 100 yards and a touchdown for himself as well.
I love it. I would love to see both of those things happen. Running back, Mayhew. There's only two to choose from. Are you going to pick the same guy? Are you going to go with
I gotta actually, did you say a sexy 179 yards from the quarterback tie? Is that what you're throwing on the board right now? Jesus, if that's what happens, that's fucking failure in a nutshell, man.
Yep.
But sure. Yeah. Okay. So running back. Yeah, let's go here. You know what? I want to fucking pound the ball on this team, run it down their throats. I want 40 total carries, evenly split, 20 apiece. Okay. And this is when we fucking just make our heyday. And 390 yards for AJ Deion. Okay. 3 touchdowns. And then Showtime, he's going to get 1 touchdown running. Okay. So only 40 yards, but he'll have receiving of 417. It's going to be a fucking
Oh
heyday.
my God. Okay, all right.
Heyday.
He's just gonna,
Washington.
he's just gonna be legs and a number and hands just doing things up and down the field. All right. Are we gonna get any turnovers this game, buddy? And I want to hear for both of this. Are we gonna get any turnovers, and are we gonna give up any turnovers, buddy?
We are not giving up any turnovers, and we are getting 2 turnovers, one on special teams and one with our defense.
Woo!
Who's the guy in defense, buddy?
Yeah, make the call, buddy.
Who is it gonna be?
Savage.
Wow.
That's
one
a hell. Aaron's not liking the sound of that.
No, that sounds great. Honestly, I want Savage to succeed. I think we all do. We're all in support of our players. We just can't help but critique the evidence given to us. Guys, we love the fucking Packers. I love Aaron Rodgers as much as I dog this dude. We love this team. That is why we're doing this. Because I know they're up at night watching and listening to this podcast, changing their life choices because of it. It's our duty.
Tyson, 100%. I am not dogging these players out of anger or frustration. No, that's exactly what I'm doing. It's more that, like, I love them, though. They're part of my squad. I will never give up on them. And Chaz, you and I have talked about this. Is like when we lose on Monday, guess who was rocking green and gold at work? I don't give up on this team. I never give up on this team. This podcast never gives up on this team. But I do expect results, and more like in the case of Darnell Savage, I expect growth. Like, you are not getting better, in my opinion. It feels to me like you're getting worse. And is it coaching? Is it you? That's up to you, Darnell, because I know you're listening. I know.
Do something for us. Do something for us, Darnell. Gentlemen, I want to get into final score predictions. Aaron, what is going to be the final score of this game?
Well, Chaz, I've overshot this thing about 7 weeks in a row, right? We're going to dial this thing back a little bit on my end at least. The offense is going to play to its strengths. It's not going to be sexy. I think it will be efficient. And it's the fucking Washington Commanders. So I'm going to come in at 24-3.
Ooh, 24-3.
I am not intimidated by that offense. I think the defense, it's all going to start clicking. I fucking hope so. My God.
My main man, Ty, what are your predicts?
Packers 20, Commanders 10. I think that the Commanders have a hard time putting it together. I think we do too, but we're just not as terrible as they are. I think we've seen some struggles, but I haven't seen a bad football team out there. I've seen a good football team struggling, trying to put it together. I think we see glimpses of the team this Packers team can be. We see that this week.
That's solid. I'm just wondering, can you also tell our audience what it's like being a roadie for ZZ Top?
What a burn from the Porcelain Prince. Damn, that hurt.
Lot of cocaine.
Tyson, game predictions, brother.
You know what, guys? I really like the reality that we are presenting right now. I think that it's very fair. Guys, I've been really hard on this team, and I've been especially hard on Aaron Rodgers. And it's out of love. It's out of love with great intention. I do believe this is a week where we seriously figure out who the fuck we are, go to our strengths, expand on those strengths mid-game, and develop an identity on not only offense, but defense. And I think we're going to be all gleefully happy to leave with a win of 24-13.
King-ing. I want to hear your predictions, brother.
Yeah, I would pick the Packers 27-6, and one of those touchdowns is going to be scored by our defense. Darnell Savage.
It's all in. It's all in, folks.
Savage.
I'm actually going to break up my normal prediction, which is usually 97-2, and actually try and put a little skin in this game. I'm going to say it's going to be 21-17 because I think it's going to be a close game. But if we can just keep pushing forward and keep them just to 17 defensively, which I think we can, given their last two scores that they have played in recent weeks, I think it's doable. I just don't see us getting over max 3 touchdowns. As we finish up our 2-minute warning, my friends, we're going to talk about a thing we talk about every week, and that is a special Packer memory. Since we have a guest today, I'm going to throw it over to Buddy. Buddy, I know we've had a lot of special Packer memories together, but one that sticks out for you, the floor is yours.
Packer memory for me, I think as far as the Packers go, Packer memories start with family, and I learned how to be a Packer fan watching my dad be a Packer fan, back in the 60s. And, back in the day they played it, just a minute, back in the day they played a different kind of football, and then we hit them. We knocked their teeth out. We smashed them. There was real tackling. We smeared them quarterbacks. But not no more. Not no more. Now you can barely touch them. Anyway, back to my point. My dad taught me about being a Packer fan and made me want to be a Packer fan. And I grew up wanting to teach my kids to be a Packer fan. And I think one of my most important memories was taking my son to his first Packer game. And we didn't have tickets. Couldn't get tickets back in those days. They were hard to get. You had to go over to Scalper's Alley and wave your number up in the air, how many tickets you wanted. And we walked around trying to get tickets, and we couldn't get tickets. And then all of a sudden, some guy came up to us and said, "You're a father and a son wanting to see the Packer game." And he gave us 2 tickets. It was pretty cool.
Miracle. It was a miracle then.
Yep. And I believe my dad was at that game too.
What was the game? Do you remember who you guys played?
It was the Eagles.
Yeah, Mama Schroeder. A little fun tidbit about that is that guy that we found, my dad was ready to offer him hundreds of dollars for those tickets, and because he brought me along for my first game, he gave them to us for free.
Yep, because we were a father and a son, and son experiencing his first football game. So we ended up taking the money we were going to spend on the tickets, and we bought a football helmet signed by Reggie
White.
Reggie White and Davis, I think it was. Yeah. And so we've got that memory, and Packers fans are Packers fans for life.
I just want to chime in and say while all of the our listening audience is clearly tearing up over what was an amazing story, Buddy, about a father and son Packer fan base that I can only hope to pass on to my son. What I have here is a clip from a 1993 NFC wildcard game for between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions that I was hoping to share with the crowd if possible. The year was 1993. The Packers had their backs against the wall against the formidable favorites of the NFC North, the Detroit Lions. Surprising to us all, I know. Brett Favre only wanted to throw the ball to one man because that's all he ever did was Sterling Sharp. Let's see how it unfolds. Brett Favre drops back. Rolls left. Throws with his eyes closed. Back down, striking down the sideline to Sterling Sharp.
What a haymaker. What a haymaker. That guy still gets me off. What a fucking haymaker.
Brett. All right, Brett.
Buddy, you remember that one? You remember that one?
I do.
I know that So Sterling Sharp
What a
had
pass.
turf toe. The guy didn't want to be on the field, but literally the only guy that Brett Favre would throw the ball to that entire year was Sterling Sharp. The guy had like 300 receptions. Like he didn't even look at anybody else. Just fucking rocket balled it in there no matter what.
There's a problem with Rodgers. Rodgers does this thing nobody else does.
But boys, it was the turning point. Like it's 93. They're like, okay, we got something here. Can we, Reggie White, he's coming over. Yeah, there's something brewing here.
I've always loved at the end of that clip, you literally see him when he's standing there like a badass. He gets that pom-pom in the side of the head that one of the other cheerleaders threw at him. And immediately after it hits him in the side of the helmet, it cuts because they didn't want to show it. I think it's even in that clip, but it always makes me laugh. Folks, we've got to say our goodbyes tonight, but we're going to end the same way we always do with the same hashtag. We usually like to go out with whoever that team we're playing is. Fuck the Commanders. And in 3, 2, 1, we're going to do it together. All the boys here at Two Dads in a Chaz podcast. Thank you, buddy, for coming on. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, buddy.
My pleasure.
Ty, Aaron, and me, Chaz, your
Go
host.
Pack, go.
We thank you for stopping. And in 3, 2, 1, hashtag.
Hashtag. Fuck the Commanders.
Commanders.
Two dads in a Chaz, putting trophies on the wall. Two dads in a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads in a Chaz, talking Green Bay Packers football.